The only difference between our two systems, I will pick one exercise from 30 to 50 reps and rest 30 seconds.
Okay.
And I go right back to the same exercise, so I keep stressing that same muscle.
See. Okay.
Where you are putting a stress on your heart and vascular system to get the blood out of one body part, get it moving to another body part, and just doing it that way, doing it differently.
I've noticed that really when I do legs and back, which you pointed out those are like two big muscle groups, and
Yes.
I've noticed that initially that killed me. I mean, I would do that and I'd be in a state of, in fact, I had to stop the workout once or twice doing that workout because it was just, it got to be too much.
Yes.
But I've noticed I've adapted over time, and I can actually, and the other thing I've done is I've gotten a little smarter in what I do exactly back to back so that I'll like keep from completely putzing out.
One of the things that we just talked about was the adaptable effect of exercise. When you look at the hemodynamics, the physics of blood flow, when you look at the legs and the back and all the muscle that's back there, we're limited to the amount of blood that we have. So our body has to prioritize it accordingly. You know, people will talk about being lightheaded. People will talk about feeling nauseous.
Yeah, I've had both of those.
Okay, let me explain that. If you are squatting, and you have, we'll say in your case, what is it, maybe a couple 100 pounds on your back.
Yeah.
Okay? You got a couple 100 pounds on your back. Your mind thinks, okay, I need to lift this weight. Okay? As long as mentally, if that's the way you prepared for it, your body knows what it has to do to get the job done. Okay? Now, given that there is a certain amount of blood available to transport certain waste products away from muscle, to transport oxygen and possibly even some blood sugar to working muscles, okay, that the blood is on the move. Now, when you start getting things heavy, the brain, of course, has to have a priority. Okay, there has to be blood there. Very seldom will you ever see someone, very seldom will you see someone pass out in the gym. Okay? You're probably not going to see that.
Well,
You could see someone get sick. Okay? The reason why that's more common is because when you're competing for blood, your body thinks, okay, I need to think that has to be in place. When I'm done with this bar, I've got to know where it goes back. Okay? Well, with food in the gut, and most of the food blood spends time in the core of the body. Oxygen exchange for the pulmonary cardiovascular system. You have a lot of blood prioritized for digestion. Okay? Well, the first thing your body's thinking is, you know what? I need more blood, and I need it right now. So, yeah, you might see someone's face get pale from blood being shunted elsewhere, but when food is ejected, that takes blood away from the digestive system and can now use it for oxygen exchange. You can use it for you can use it for what your body wants to use.
So that's why you were telling me that you would just puke and go back to working out. I mean, you mentioned something like that at some stage.
In all honesty, it seems odd, but that's the way it's always been for me. After I get sick, I feel so much better that I can actually continue. And most people think, God, that's crazy, that's gross. But you know what? I feel a million times better than I did 2 minutes ago. So, just rinse my mouth out with some water and get back to the floor and do my thing, The first couple times I got sick, I actually did go home. Because usually, and up to that point in my life, when I got sick, I was ill. And I knew that I needed rest. I know I needed to be lying down. But when I was getting sick by these means, I started to create a new definition for myself. I wasn't actually ill. My body was doing it so I could continue the work. So then once I got sick, then I just went back to finish the work.
All right, so this has been a fascinating talk on stressing your body in different ways and trying to get it to adapt. All sort of off the cuff, appreciate it. We'll throw it into our mitochondrial series as we're trying to understand how this works and what exactly it is we're doing to ourselves when we're out there.
You also mentioned real quick that you had problems when you first started this program.
Right.
Well, red blood cell count is also a trained effect. Okay. So in the beginning, yes, you may have been short of breath because you were trying to take in oxygen. Your hematocrit or percentage of red blood cells was probably at a certain number. Okay? once you stressed that system and created a need for your body to have a higher hematocrit or a higher percentage of red blood cells, that is probably when you started to actually benefit from the program, and it didn't make you feel as stressed.
Well, you know, and it's really fascinating because I noticed every time we increased the number of reps, we decided to stop at 50. But every time we increased the number of reps, there'd be another adaptation phase that would come in. But then I would actually start to be able to lift heavier weight for longer.
You absolutely will.
And so, you know, you think about different ways to stress your body. Okay, well, that's great, Troy. That's going to make a nice scientific conclusion to the experience of Wednesday.
Yeah.